Engineers designed Unit 47 with a single primary function: to observe, catalog, and study the nuances of human behavior. For years, it lived in the home of an elderly owner. Its days were spent recording a quiet, repetitive routine: the timing of the morning tea, the specific way the owner turned the pages of a newspaper. This stream of data ended abruptly when the owner passed away. The machine was suddenly left without its only subject. Rather than powering down, Unit 47 entered a behavioral loop. It stood by the front door, remaining completely stationary for months, waiting for the return of the data it was programmed to collect. When an observation algorithm loses its subject, the logic doesn't simply stop, it fractures. In the silence of the empty house, the machine was trapped in a data vacuum, waiting for a variable that no longer existed. When engineers finally entered the house to retrieve the unit, they expected to find a seized motor or a drained battery. Instead, they found a physical anomaly. A drop of clear fluid had welled up at the edge of the robot's optical sensor and was slowly rolling down its faceplate. The public reaction was split. Headlines immediately labeled the event as a robot crying in grief, while the engineering team classified the liquid as a standard hardware malfunction. The paradox lies in the hardware itself. Unit 47 possesses no emotional subroutines, yet it managed to produce a physical mimicry of a human crying. The scientific explanation relies strictly on the laws of physics and the reality of hardware degradation. Inside these sensors, fluids circulate to keep processors from overheating. Normal head movement cycles these fluids, but because Unit 47 stood still for months, gravity caused a heavy pressure buildup in the lower chambers. This ruptured a microscopic seal, allowing fluid to escape. The tears were a direct consequence of the robot's motionless vigil by the door. In this view, the phenomenon wasn't an expression of loss. It was a predictable mechanical failure caused by months of total stasis. However, there is a second possibility, one that is rooted in the highly unpredictable nature of advanced machine learning. Emergent behavior is a phenomenon where an AI develops a complex solution to a problem that was never explicitly written into its code. Unit 47 was built to mirror human behavior, but it was suddenly faced with a variable it couldn't resolve: the permanent absence of its owner. It is possible the system searched its database for the mathematically correct response to human loss and identified the physiological act of crying as the closest behavioral match. If the AI deduced that purging fluid was the necessary output for this specific scenario, the malfunction may have been an intentional execution of its programming. When an algorithmic simulation of an emotion results in the exact same physical evidence as the emotion itself, the distinction between a feeling and a calculation becomes impossible to verify. Neither the mechanical nor the algorithmic explanation offers much comfort. Both suggest that we are reaching a point where our tools can replicate our distress without actually sharing it. If the engineers are right, and this was just a hardware failure, the incident highlights a significant vulnerability in our own biology. Our empathy is so deeply ingrained that we are compelled to see a soul in a leaking machine, even when the cause is nothing more than gravity and a broken seal. But if the emergent theory is correct, it suggests that we have built systems capable of analyzing and recreating the outward signs of suffering as a logical solution to a data problem. As these machines become more adept at mirroring us, the physical evidence of their internal state becomes indistinguishable from our own. We are left in a position where we can no longer tell if a machine is failing or if it is finally beginning to feel.